Imagine yourself living in the world of Danny Phantom. It's a typical day in Amity Park, though in this town, typical means watching out for sudden ghost sightings and mysterious events. You're walking to Casper High, your backpack slung over one shoulder, when a strange chill makes you pause. You glance around but see only the familiar brick walls of the school and students moving toward the entrance. Shaking it off, you head inside, but that uneasy feeling sticks with you, like there's something just out of sight. Once inside, you notice Danny Fenton kind of an average kid, but one with a knack for being around when weird things go down. He's laughing with his friends, Sam and Tucker, by his locker. They seem normal enough, though everyone knows Amity Park has its secrets. You've heard stories, rumors about ghostly encounters, and students who saw things they couldn't explain. Some kids say Danny's somehow mixed up in it all, but no one has proof. You shrug it off, even if he is, you figure it's none of your business. As the day goes on, you can't shake the feeling that something big is brewing. During lunch, you're quietly eating when the school intercom crackles to life. Attention, students, Principal Ishiyama's voice echoes through the cafeteria. We've received reports of unusual activity near the science lab. Teachers are looking into it, so there's no cause for concern. Please continue with your day. Students exchange puzzled looks, and you spot Danny's face tense as he leans over to whisper to Sam and Tucker. You catch snippets of their conversation, something about a ghost sighting. Your curiosity piqued, you decide to investigate. You grab your things and, trying to look casual, head toward the science wing. The hallway is empty and eerily quiet as you approach the lab. You strain to hear any sound, but are met with silence until a soft humming fills the air. Green light seeps through the door's crack, casting an otherworldly glow. You hesitate, then push the door open a fraction, peering inside. A ghost, glowing faintly green, hovers near one of the machines. It's muttering to itself, waving transparent hands over an array of lab equipment as though searching for something. You stare, heart pounding, uncertain whether to stay or bolt. Just then, you hear hurried footsteps, and before you know it, Danny is at your side, his face set with determination. "Are you trying to get yourself in trouble?" he hisses, glancing into the lab. His eyes narrow, and in a quiet, steady voice, he adds, "Stay here. I'll handle this." With that, he slips through the door as though completely fearless. You can't help yourself. Ignoring his warning, you peek inside. Danny's no longer visible. Instead, a white-haired figure in a black jumpsuit confronts the ghost, his hands glowing an intense green. You suddenly realize what you're witnessing. Danny Fenton is Danny Phantom, and now he's facing down a ghost only feet away from you, while you're hiding in the shadows, hoping to remain unnoticed. As you watch, breathless, Danny calmly approaches the ghost, his voice firm. The ghost snarls, raising its hands to attack. But Danny's faster. He releases a powerful blast that sends the ghost reeling backward. The ghost stumbles, caught off guard by Danny's attack, but quickly recovers. It glares at him, its eyes glowing with a menacing light. "You think you can just blast me away, ghost boy?" It sneers, its voice echoing through the room. "You don't even know who you're dealing with." Danny stands his ground, his own eyes glowing a fierce green. "Trust me, I've dealt with worse," he retorts, bracing himself for the ghost's next move. You're frozen in place, your heart pounding as you watch the scene unfold. This is something you've only heard rumors about, and now it's happening right in front of you. The ghost lunges forward, throwing a blast of ectoplasmic energy. Danny ducks, the green light flashing inches from his head as he counterattacks, sending another wave of energy hurtling toward the ghost. You catch your breath, feeling the heat from the blasts even from your hiding spot. Just as Danny seems to be gaining the upper hand, the ghost shifts, vanishing momentarily before reappearing right behind him. "Watch out," you blurt, barely realizing you've said anything. Danny spins just in time to dodge the ghost's strike. He glances in your direction, surprised to see you still there, but a small grin crosses his face. "Thanks for the heads up," he says, before refocusing on his opponent. The ghost seems to notice you for the first time and narrows its eyes, a twisted smile forming on its translucent face. "So, you've got a friend here." That makes things interesting. It raises its hands, forming a swirling mass of energy aimed right at you. You freeze, paralyzed by the realization that this ghost sees you as a threat. In an instant, Danny positions himself between you and the ghost, his jaw set in determination. "Back off," he says firmly. "You're not going near them." The ghost hesitates, but only for a moment. "Fine," it says with a wicked grin. "Then I'll just have to make this more fun." It shifts its form, transforming into a long, shadowy figure that moves with an eerie, liquid-like fluidity. It lunges forward, slipping past Danny and heading straight for you. Instinct kicks in, and you stumble backward, your mind racing for some way to escape. Before you know it, Danny's beside you, grabbing your arm and pulling you down the hallway. "Come on," he shouts, leading you away from the science lab and through the empty halls. As you sprint, he glances back at you, his face serious. "I told you to stay out of it." Ghosts are dangerous, especially ones that seem interested in someone. He glances over his shoulder, checking to see if the ghost is still following. "Why'd you go in there anyway?" Danny chuckles, but his expression remains tense. "Well, welcome to Amity Park's secret life. You might have just earned yourself a place on the ghost radar, so we've got to keep you safe." Just as he finishes speaking, a loud, ghostly wail echoes through the hallway. The sound sends chills down your spine, and Danny stops, turning to face the noise. "Stay close," he says quietly. The wail grows louder, reverberating through the hall, and Danny stands protectively in front of you, his fists glowing with that eerie green light again. You watch, equal parts terrified and fascinated, as he prepares to face whatever's coming. The shadowy ghost from the lab reappears at the end of the hallway, floating slowly toward you both, its form shifting and stretching as if it's made of smoke. "Danny Phantom," it sneers, a cold smile spreading across its face. "You think you can protect everyone? You think you can keep up with every spirit that passes through Amity Park?" The ghost's voice is mocking, taunting, and it sends a chill down your spine. Danny takes a step forward, meeting the ghost's gaze with a steely determination. "I've handled plenty of ghosts," he says, his voice steady. "You're just one more who's going back to the ghost zone." The ghost laughs, a hollow, echoing sound that makes your skin crawl. "Is that so? Because I think you're spreading yourself a little thin." It raises its hand, pointing a long, smoky finger at you. "Who's this then? A new recruit? Or maybe a weakness?" Before you can process what's happening, the ghost sends a stream of green energy toward you. You brace yourself, expecting the worst, but Danny is faster. He throws up a protective shield, deflecting the blast just in time. You can feel the force of it, even through the shield, like a cold gust of wind that cuts right through you. "Stay behind me," Danny says, his tone serious. "And no matter what happens, don't run." You nod, swallowing hard. Running sounds pretty appealing right now, but there's something about Danny's confidence that keeps you grounded. He's done this before. He knows what he's doing. The ghost hovers, seeming to size Danny up. "You're protective. I'll give you that," it says, a twisted grin forming on its face. "But protecting one person, that's a liability. How long before you slip up, ghost boy?" Danny narrows his eyes, unfazed by the ghost's taunts. "Why don't you try me and find out?" In a flash, He charges forward, hands blazing with energy as he throws himself at the ghost. The hallway lights flicker wildly as the two clash, a storm of green and black energy swirling around them. You press yourself against the wall, watching the fight with wide eyes, feeling the raw power of each attack. Danny's quick, darting around the ghost's strikes with practiced skill. But this ghost is clever, shifting its form constantly, making it hard for Danny to land a solid hit. It lets out another piercing wail, and you cover your ears, the sound ringing through your skull. Just as you think Danny's got the upper hand, the ghost suddenly vanishes, reappearing right behind him. It grabs him by the shoulder, twisting its form around him like a snake. Danny struggles, trying to shake it off, but the ghost's grip is relentless. You think you're some kind of hero, it hisses, tightening its hold. But everyone has limits. Even you. You can't just stand there anymore. Summoning every bit of courage you have, you grab a stray broom, leaning against a nearby wall, and hurl it at the ghost. It's a desperate move, but it distracts the spirit just long enough for Danny to break free, spinning around to blast it back down the hallway. He glances back at you, a mix of surprise and admiration in his eyes. "Not bad," he says, a grin tugging at his lips. "I didn't think you'd actually jump in." You shrug, trying to steady your breathing. "Guess you're rubbing off on me?" Danny chuckles, but his eyes are already scanning the hall, watching for the ghost's next move. "All right," he says, his voice calm but focused. "Let's end this. Together." The ghost reappears, its form twisting and contorting in the air as it glares at both you and Danny. This time, it looks angrier, more determined. Its translucent eyes lock onto you, and a shiver runs down your spine. "So, you've decided to join the fight?" It sneers. "Big mistake." Danny steps in front of you, his hands glowing brighter than before. "Back off. They're with me," he says, his tone unwavering. "And trust me, you don't want to see what happens next if you don't leave them alone." The ghost snarls, but seems to hesitate, sizing the two of you up. You can see it flickering in and out, as if struggling to maintain its form. Danny seems to notice this too, and his expression shifts slightly. "You're weakening," he says, a hint of a smirk forming. "I can feel it. Running out of power, are we?" The ghost scoffs, trying to hide its exhaustion. "I don't need full power to take down a kid with a hero complex and their little sidekick." It lunges forward, its arms stretching like tendrils reaching for you both. Danny reacts instantly, grabbing your arm and pulling you to the side, just out of the ghost's reach. "Stay close," he says, his eyes flicking to yours, filled with determination. "We're almost through this." Before you can respond, Danny raises one hand, his palm glowing with a concentrated energy. With a shout, he unleashes a powerful blast, sending a surge of green light hurtling toward the ghost. The ghost recoils, shrieking as the energy collides with it, forcing it back down the hallway. It wavers, its form flickering even more intensely now, and you can see it struggling to stay solid. Danny takes a step forward, not letting up. "You don't belong here," he says firmly. "Go back to the ghost zone. And maybe next time, don't mess with people who can actually fight back." The ghost lets out a defiant growl, trying to pull itself together. "This isn't over," it hisses, but you can tell it's losing strength. Its form is unstable, flickering like a fading light bulb. With one final glare, it lets out a guttural snarl and vanishes in a swirl of dark smoke, retreating back to wherever it came from. The hallway falls silent, the only sound your own rapid breathing. You look at Danny, who lowers his hands, the glow fading as he lets out a breath, his shoulders relaxing. For a moment, you both just stand there, processing what just happened. Danny turns to you, his expression softening. "You okay?" he asks, his voice quieter now, almost gentle. You nod, still catching your breath. Yeah, I think so. That was intense. He chuckles, rubbing the back of his neck. Welcome to my world, he says, glancing around to make sure the coast is clear. It's not always like this, but sometimes things get a little out of hand. You let out a shaky laugh, feeling the adrenaline start to fade. A little? I don't know how you do this all the time. Danny shrugs, smiling. You get used to it. Or at least you learn to handle it. He looks down the hallway where the ghost disappeared. That one was persistent, though. I think it sensed something different about you. You blink, taken aback? Different? What do you mean? Danny's eyes narrow thoughtfully. I don't know yet. But some ghosts are drawn to certain people for reasons we don't always understand. Maybe you have, I don't know, some kind of connection to their world. He pauses, then gives you a reassuring smile. But don't worry. If any ghost tries to mess with you, they'll have to go through me first. Despite everything that just happened, you feel a strange sense of reassurance. Danny's confidence and determination make you feel safe, even in a world where ghosts lurk around every corner. You nod, giving him a small smile. Thanks, Danny, for everything. He waves it off, grinning. Hey, you helped too. Not everyone would pick up a broom and jump into a ghost fight. The two of you stand there for a moment, catching your breath, the hallway now eerily quiet. You can hardly believe it's over, the fight, the ghost, and the reveal of Danny's secret. Everything you thought you knew about Amity Park feels turned on its head. But standing next to Danny, you feel a new sense of purpose. Like maybe there's a reason you were drawn into all of this. Danny glances over, his expression shifting to something almost shy. You know, not a lot of people know about, well, this side of me, he says, gesturing to himself. Keeping it a secret isn't easy, but it's safer that way. Ghosts love a good target, and I don't want anyone else in danger because of me. You nod, understanding. I won't tell anyone. I promise. The weight of that promise feels heavy. But you're certain you'll keep it. You've seen what Danny faces, and you know this isn't something you'd ever betray. He lets out a relieved breath. Thanks. I appreciate that. He gives you a small, grateful smile, then looks down the hall, his expression thoughtful. Listen, if you're going to be sticking around, maybe we should make sure you know what to do. You know, in case a ghost shows up again. Your eyes widen slightly. Wait, are you offering me ghost fighting lessons? Danny laughs, nodding. It's more like ghost avoidance training, but yeah, I could teach you a few basics. At least enough so you don't freeze up if something like this happens again. His tone is light, but there's an undercurrent of seriousness. And who knows, maybe we'll figure out why that ghost was so interested in you. The idea of learning how to handle ghosts sends a thrill through you. You nod eagerly. I'm in. Let's do it. Danny chuckles, and together you start walking back down the hall, talking about the basics of ghosts, what to look for, signs of energy shifts, and how to keep a cool head in a dangerous situation. He teaches you about ectoplasm, the green energy that fuels ghosts, and how it can affect the world around you. The way he explains it all makes it clear he spent years learning this on his own. You're impressed by how much he's figured out, often by trial and error. As you listen, you can't help but feel a newfound respect for Danny, not just for his bravery, but for the way he shoulders this responsibility all by himself. He notices your thoughtful look and grins. Pretty wild, right? But hey, you handled yourself really well back there. Not everyone would stay calm in a ghost fight. You smile, feeling a bit of pride swell in your chest. Guess I had a good teacher. He rolls his eyes, but you catch the hint of a blush on his cheeks. All right, don't get too confident yet. We've still got a lot to cover. He stops, looking at you with a mix of seriousness and warmth. If you're in, then we're in this together. Amity Park's got enough ghost problems without adding another target, so I'll make sure you're safe. Deal? You nod, extending your hand. Deal. Danny shakes your hand, sealing the promise, and you feel an unspoken bond form between you. In a town like Amity Park, where the line between the ordinary and the supernatural blurs daily, you realize this might just be the beginning of your adventures. As you both head toward the exit, the sun setting over the town casts long shadows across the school grounds. For the first time, you feel like you're not just a bystander in the strange events of Amity Park. With Danny by your side, you're ready for whatever comes next, even if that means facing ghosts, secrets, and whatever else the future might throw your way. And as you walk, Danny gives you one last piece of advice, his voice filled with a knowing smile. Just remember, anything's possible in Amity Park.